I'm Levi. I'm age 24 and I am a heroin addict. All right, I was born and raised in Provo, Utah. Had an awesome childhood, raised perfectly normal. I loved everything. In my junior years when I started drinking for the first time. And from there it just kind of escalated. I started heroin at 17 in school. I used to snort it at school and go to my classes extremely high. I first started shooting heroin at age 19. I OD'd at age 21. I was lucky enough to be revived. I took a shot of adrenaline to bring me back. They tried CPR, they tried everything else to bring me back, and that's what did it. I was in cardiac arrest for 8 minutes. I entered rehab. I went to outpatient rehab for, it was called Day Spring, and after 8 months I graduated. I stayed clean for a little while after that, and then I ended up relapsing, and since then I've been up and down. I'll have periods of sobriety and clean time, and I'll relapse, and that relapse lasts for anywhere from a weekend to months, a year. In the beginning, my friends influenced me. They were everything, like in high school, your friends are everything to you. We all thought we were awesome, that we were the hottest thing at the school, us being the, football jock guys. And we would push each other to the limits, we would, the peer pressure on each other was just enormous, and we'd always give in. The group of my closest friends, we would always give in and party together. If one of them would be, oh no, I don't want to do that, or whatever, we would all, we seemed to always convince them to join the party. That I started with alcohol and smoking pot, and how that leads to harder stuff is, you go to these parties or you're around people, and in drug culture, if you're around other people, they're going to have other drugs. That's just how it is. I took my first painkiller, I remember, after football practice, and it felt so good to just have like your muscles, and just, my back didn't hurt anymore, and I just felt awesome after practice instead of exhausted and just, really put out. From there, from just normal painkillers like, Lortabs and Percocet, we moved on. Our tolerances got higher. We needed more of the drug to get high and to feel good, and so we moved on to OC, and started snorting OC all the time. And basically, when I was first introduced to heroin, it was at school, and I wasn't told it was heroin at first. Someone told me it was morphine, and I guess that was enough for me to do it, because if they probably told me it was heroin, I probably wouldn't have done it, but they told me it was morphine, and I did it. But, I'm 24, I was hoping to be a college graduate, and I'm just working to get back there. I want a family, I want a wife. And that potential's there in me. I know it is still. And drugs so far, drug addiction has taken that away from me. At first, when you first start using, yeah, you feel, especially when you're a teenager, you feel invincible and whatever, you can do whatever. and you can stop whenever. You know, when you first start using, you can stop after a couple days and, you know, you're fine, but eventually those days, using on the weekends, will lead into, oh, we'll add Monday and make that as part of the weekend, and then that just stretches out until you're using all the time, and you're addicted, and if you don't use, you're, you know, in withdrawal, and you're sick all the time, very sick. It's crazy, like when you wake up in the morning and you need your fix, you'll do anything, pretty much. I mean, really, it triggers like a instinct in your brain that's like, it's like more important than food or, you know, family, anything. I've robbed drug dealers before. You know, I basically don't have any nice possessions anymore. I've pawned it all at the pawn shop. I've stolen a lot of my family's stuff and sold it. You know, I have little sisters. I have 3 little sisters. And they used to look up to me. And, you know, I think they still do, and they say they do, but, you know, now there's doubt in their mind. You know, I'm not their big hero brother anymore. I don't talk to my dad anymore. Our relationship is just totally crumbled with my dad. We used to be like friends, like best friends, as opposed to him just being my dad. And yeah, I don't talk to him. We don't talk. He doesn't want to see me. He doesn't want me around. Yeah, it's been really rough on my family, to say the least.
I'm Liz. I'm 41 years old and been in recovery for 7 years now. I work the 12 steps through Narcotics Anonymous, and I'm also now a licensed substance abuse counselor and work with others in addiction. When I was younger, I had tried different things. I tried pot. It wasn't really my thing. I did cocaine a few times. It didn't really stick either. Most of the time, I would go out clubbing with my friends when I was 21, and I'd drink on occasion, either at home or out at the bars. But you know, a lot of times we go out to the clubs. I was the designated driver, so I didn't do a lot of drinking. So, and I didn't get introduced to meth till I was 27. I was going to school full-time here, actually, at it was a state college at the time, and I got kind of overwhelmed one semester, and I had a cousin who continually asked me to try meth, and I wouldn't do it. I finally tried it, snorted it, and I found that I could stay up all night long, do all my studying, and still get through school the whole next day, and stay focused, do great on tests, and thought I had found the most amazing thing in the world. And so I snorted it 2 or 3 times, maybe a month, for about a year. I had a different cousin, actually, that wanted me to try it by smoking it, and the first time I smoked it, I truly believe that's when I became an addict. So it was always me and my daughter, and I was an awesome mom until I let meth take over.
My name is Natasha. I am 18 years old. I am the daughter of Liz, who is a recovering meth addict. Growing up being a daughter of a meth addict is really hard. I don't think I knew what drugs were when I was a kid, but I did know that it stole my mom. I remember when my mom would go to jail, I didn't want her to go. I remember crying hours upon hours, hoping that she would come home. And it never occurred to me why she was never there. I just wanted my mom. And I remember times where I'd be at school and she would come, and ask me to pee in a cup for her. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, okay, well, if this keeps you out of jail, if this keeps you with me, then yeah, I'll pee in a cup for you. The cops came banging on the door, and my grandma and my aunt were there, and they stole me away from my mom. And I remember going home and writing in my journal, just so upset that I was not able to be with my mom because of the choices she had made by doing drugs. I can't express the pain that I went through because my mom was not there. The first year my mom was clean, I had the hardest time leaving the house, leaving my mother's side. I was so afraid she was going to leave again, to go back to use drugs. I didn't want to go sleep over at my friends. I wouldn't even want to leave the house to hang out with my friends. School was difficult to just push myself to even go. And I was a dancer at the time, and going to dance class, which is my passion, it wasn't possible. I just did not want to do anything but stay with my mother to make sure that she wouldn't leave me again. Because my mom did drugs while I was growing up, it's definitely changed my mind that I would never want to try drugs. I remember going through school and just having my friends experimenting with drugs, and I could not tell them, you know, it's the stupidest thing to do, you know, because one day if you get hooked, you're going to destroy your family. You're not only going to destroy yourself, but you put your family through so much pain. But they would never understand, and you need to know that it hurts.
Hi, I'm DERREK. I'm 23 years old. I'm an addict of drugs and alcohol, and I've been that way for about 8 years now. First time I started to get my hands on drugs and alcohol, probably in fifth or sixth grade, fourth or fifth grade, and parents' liquor cabinet. When I was younger, I just saw my father and all of who I grew up, all of my adults when I grew up, drinking all the time and using drugs around me, and I just thought, you could go to work, have a good job, and do that, and keep it in moderation, and still, you know, have fun. And I guess I just was, you know, naive and young. After that, moved up north, Utah County area. My mom got cancer. I'd take her pain pills. I didn't have no one know, as long as no one knew, and I felt good. I was happy. I had some injuries, broke my leg, broke my foot. More pain pills, and that's when it came into me becoming friends with kids that like to get high like me. And a lot of them still in jail right now. Some of them are dead right now. Like I love to golf. I was a three-year letterman in golf, lettered in wrestling. I love sports, loved to do all that thing, loved everything like that. Ended up by getting kicked out of school my senior year for, you know, bringing drugs into the school. And once that happened, you know, I was out. I was getting a lot of money. I had a nice little car. All it was getting high every day, and then it just went downhill from there. After I graduated from high school, I moved out with a friend that was living back east, you know, and I thought that was going to change everything. I thought I'd get myself in a new situation. It would change everything. It's just this situation. It's not me. Well, I was doing just as bad out there. Came back, went to Salt Lake City, lived on a house 45th there. That was the worst time of my life. I lived there for over a year, didn't have a job once, and paid rent. So I was stealing. I was getting caught stealing. I was spending time in jail. I was using heroin at the time, and I would wake up. I would have my dope man deliver my dope to my house because it was that daily of occurrence. And when it gets to that point, you know, you just kind of reconsider. Like I'm only 19 years old at this point. And so I got an opportunity to move down to Price, Utah, and I was going to work in the coal mine there. And I did that for a little while, and I was making way too good money and didn't have no bills. So I just started buying up all the drugs that I could there. You know, I was using pills at the time, smoking rock, drinking on the way to work, not eating, didn't eat at all. Why would I eat when I need just high? It would ruin my high. Well, that ended abruptly when I woke up 4 days later in a hospital bed with all kinds of tubes and hoses and apparatuses attached to me, you know. I learned how to walk again, talk again. I couldn't eat. They had a feeding tube up my nose for about almost a month, 2.5 weeks, and I learned all that again. But you think that would change someone? But how sick this disease is, how sick, you don't even want to start doing drugs, because this is how sick I was. I got out of that hospital, not even 2 weeks later, I was in pain from laying there for 3 days, had some nerve damage. I was back up to the city with a needle in my arm. If that's not sick, I don't know what is. If anyone wants to go through that, if anyone wants to see their loved ones go through that, that's horrible. That's the most low thing you could ever do. And I got out of that, went for another 2 years, just ran wild, put me in rehab. I went to rehab once for a year, got kicked out of there for fist fighting. And so at this point, I'm 23 years old, I don't got shit. I've blown a lot of money. I've kept a lot of good friends and family, because if it wasn't for them, I'd be dead. I can count on, you know, 2 hands how many friends I've had die since I had my overdose. And you think that's nice for me to think? I was in the hospital for 2 months, not knowing if I was gonna live or not. But somehow I'm such a great person that I'm pulled out of it. But these people I thought were better than me, and they're dead because of some stupid bullshit, pretty much. Stupid, no reason. You may think you're doing it to yourself. Your family and your friends are suffering. They're suffering very bad, harder than you are. Think of your mom right now. Think of your mom and think of what she's done for you. Think of how many times you've got hurt, scraped your knee, did anything. You know, she got you the Band-Aid. She wants to help you. Don't put your parents through this. Don't put anyone through this. Don't put no one. It's not worth it. Sitting in a hospital bed with all your friends coming in and you can't even move, and you think you're gonna be that way the rest of your life because that's what they tell you. You're gonna be stuck in a nursing home. You're on your 20th birthday, all because you decided that you were invincible. No one wakes up from that. I'm very blessed, very blessed. Just don't put yourself in that situation. Be a stronger person. It doesn't make you cool, does not make you tough, doesn't make you, you know, more than anyone else. Take someone else's word for it and just stay away.